like to welcome everyone to the 15th Street Meeting House. Hugh Seidman has published 7 poetry books, including Somebody Stand Up and Sing, which won the Green Rose Prize from New Issues Press, Collecting Evidence, which won the Yale Series of Younger Poets Prize, and People Live, They Have Lives, which was judged the winner of the Camden Poetry Award. He's also won 3 New York State Poetry Grants, 3 NEA Fellowships, and his selected poems, 1965 to 1995, was named one of the Village Voice's 25 favorite books of 1995. Seidman has taught at the University of Wisconsin, my alma mater, I'll just throw that out there, Yale University, the City College of CUNY, the College of William and Mary, the New School University, and other institutions. Let's welcome Hugh Seidman.
Thanks. Thank you for having me. Great to be here. The first poem is called For Jane, who is sitting here today. And it invokes an image from the homeless, her dedication to the homeless at the shelter. For Jane, orphaned, punched, sold girl jumps to motorway cars in the film. Homeless jogger in the yard at the shelter where you volunteer. Up at 5, shaves to try for a job. But no art need prove gravity. No beard need test the razor. I wanted Webster's all day to atone for ignorance of words, to bar can't from one true poem, oh banality, words that jar the coma of solitude, you teaching clad in hose, bone-chilled, catching cold and snow, hose, old word, mother's word, pubertal, sexual echo of clothes, like tears for the martyr, like alms for the supplicator, salves a moment, mauled, cut world. One of the lines where it says can't, it's C-A-N apostrophe T and C-A-N-T. I was trained in, my formal education was mostly in mathematics and theoretical physics, so I always have a soft spot in my heart and an interest in such things. This is a short poem invokes my father, who is also a tech person. I think he was very disturbed in certain ways when I decided to be a poet instead of a computer programmer, for obvious reasons. Old letter. Passion of the written when all whom I knew were alive. Helping you will not in any way burden us in any way whatsoever. Like the theory of the future of the visible stars, so far flung in the blank sky that their light will not reach us. You being happy makes us doubly happy. You are our life and joy, no matter what the psychology books say. And my father in motion, fated like the voided stars. One who has gone light years by now, who would help if he could. Karate for about 20 years, and I reached the rank of 4th degree black belt. I don't don't train anymore, but karate was a big part of my life for a long time. This is a karate poem. Seido Karate is the name of the kind of karate that I did. And it's Seido Karate, Kino Hito no Mi Kyo no Wagami, which means yesterday the other person, today myself. For Ernesto Raya, 1937-2006. Butt on heels, right palm up in the lap, under the left knuckles, thumbs touching. I shut my eyes and shot a ray of invisible light to Beth Israel Hospital, to the first female sensei, as the master had instructed. Tube entwined, eyelids fluttering under the morphine. She had not known him. And then we stood when he struck the gong. And the tears arose that I would not have accorded myself, as if then for her with whom I had no connection. That night, street shouts woke me from the plot of the only child, hunched with its head in its hands, as if no one cared if it lived or died. The next day was Saturday, and the sun racked my head with its more than visible rays of light in the first definite day of summer, though she, alive below the noon, now breathed with the mourned. As I sipped my coffee in the park, still starving in the tantrum of dream. And then I was down on the subway again to sit Seiza before Kumite, upon the track to no end but the speed of the hurtling body, amid the remarkable fervor that raises the dead to the status of the living. There were a few Japanese words in there. Kumite is fighting. And sitting Seiza is the kind of meditative posture that we used in meditation class. Usually we sit on these little benches. The Japanese tend to sit on their knees, but Westerners find this difficult because they haven't been doing it all their life. I've spent a lot of time sitting in Abington Square Park, which is up the block from where I live in Westbeth. And I'm going to read two Abington Square poems tonight. This is the first one, called Abington Square Park. And there's in the park, there's a big statue to the soldiers who died in the First World War, the doughboys. Bronze doughboy, Colt pistol, Springs nursing home invalids, are most good, some mad. Qin Shi Huang, first emperor, burned books, interred scholars, drank mercury for immortality. Slaves moiled at his great wall, dug his Lishan mausoleum, kept by the terracotta Goliaths. When he croaked Civil War, history etched as the long haul, though thugs spur knuckles, lust to bust teeth in the skull, as when the psalm goads God. Once mouse probed verbena, hunched, fixed upon crumbs. Now pink petals, orange petals, Shia dynasty, Queen Peony, King Peony, unclasped until chin, full, unforsworn, failing action. Like anyone. Grace, action, redemption, lies, jokes, truth, faking truth, teeth gnashed, nauseous, nauseated, remembering, forgetting war, moments a day. Did the back hurt? Did it hurt to stand? Hand held by hands. Anyone, a neighbor, say, sick unto death, saying what is said of the strength to go on, whether or not strength, whether or not when one went on like anyone. I wrote that poem during the Bush administration, not realizing it would be much more apt in these days. This is my other Abingdon Square Park poem. Paradisiacal park far from war, tree-blocked light, small blue verbena flowers, banana plants, broad-ribbed yellowish leaves, old woman in black on a bench with pearls and red beret. But where was her slumped husband sketching in black beret? Shopping cart like the metal wheeler given a neighbor, fallen in the street, afraid to go out. Labor Day weekend, Sunday, paradisiacal park far from war, absent twin tower of butters of obdurate, cloudless blue. Saw her again today, red cockade, black beret, end of lifer at stubborn wind, footprinted snow, umbrellaed rain. As many stride the sidewalk past this natural fraction, edging the environing iron of its habitues. Near the sky-high rent, worldwide tourist center of the universe, pre-fashionista meat packers, blood-acrid pavements, outpoured, exuberant, paradisiacal park far from war, virgin, last of April tulips, red, white, yellow, orange. The thing about the park was that you would see people come to the park every day in the summertime. And then one day they wouldn't be there anymore. So you figured that they had departed, as it were.
It's right next to the nursing home.
Yeah, it used to be like this. The nursing home used to be there, which is now a condominium. This next poem is about a young woman who was killed in Iraq. She went there to help the peripheral damage, so to speak, of victims, the innocent victims caught up in the conflict, because no one else was trying to help them. And she was eventually killed on the Baghdad road. Marla Rizika, 12/31/1976 to 4/16/2005. founder, campaigned for innocent victims in conflict, civic. And she said, spread the word, it will be what we make it. Sparks ratchet from the tinder, crackle from the racket of fire and light, and are gone. Tireless, fearless against generals, bureaucrats, politicians. Her skull touching skull, hem of her black abaya clenched in her fist, set on the shoulder of the unveiled woman in hijab who buttresses the dark-eyed, moon-eyed child. Corpuscles hiss from the splutter, flare from the pyre drafts. Motes rocket, incandescent, are lost. Flecks tick from the holocausts. Ingenue, face-splitting smile, Buddha girl, California smile, petite with curly blonde tresses, pretty, peppy, fiery, vivacious, nicknamed Bubbles in Kabul, immolated by a God car on the Baghdad airport road, her last outcry, I'm alive. No invader grieved at any funeral or house. No envoy offered help or remorse. From mutilated torso to torso, blogs marking her even as martyr. Rock Creek Park, rollerblade queen, cluster bomb girl, Spitfire, hurricane, love bomb, manic, anorexic, insomnial, fortified by parties and red wine, avatar of the tendered nipples of Ishtar, registrar of the mutes of the underworld, gladiator of the courage of the vulnerable, novice of no past at the boundary of history, saint of the collateral orphans, paladin weeping for a metal planet, nova emptying its burden of souls, stranger arousing the genital wind, auric-haired bride Marla wrapped in the black abaya, like the dawn blistering past blood beyond the background. The poet Valerie once said that, to paraphrase, poems are never finished, they're only abandoned. Unfinished poem for Fran Antman. The Andeans sledged for Morococha copper. They hoped quick years to buy land or a son from the pit. In the cemetery of heaven, Rosa Escobar's black mantilla hood stone, 2 days from Juan Cavalica, magnified, reborn Christ wounds, brother, pneumonia corpse at Morococha. I confess that I confess. I have bought and sold copper, nickel, silver, and gold, one of the sleepers betting for time, dreaming farther and farther into the barriada, past mud and flames, like any animal lacing shoes, trying to inform the saviors of the people. We know, we know. History's inherent mercury, extracted silver, Peru's poorest zone, Victor Tepe, Union Head, tortured by the commando, Antonio Cauchagua, mine leader, assassinated by Sendero Luminoso, silicosis, arsenic dust, acetic, yaoli, toxic with metals, copper, zinc, iron, manganese, cadmium. Stroller thrust on the blue dusk Hudson to shield a child from the squalor. Agog at the billionaire condos. Clear story water wall, infinity edge pool. Crucified by the sun spears. Scorified sky of fire and dark. Alloys binding wrists and neck. Silhouetted kayak stroking to Rosa Escobar's brother. The Sendero Luminoso was the shining path in Peru. This is a poem about Black Hawk, who was in the Lakota Sioux medicine man, who produced one of these record books of when the buffalo were driven to extinction. They used to record the history of the tribe on buffalo skin. When that was not available anymore, they started to use paper. And in the winter of 1881 was a tremendous blizzard, and Black Hawk and the rest of the Indians were starving. And Black Hawk had a vision dream. And the Indian trader who was supplied the tribe offered him 50 cents a picture. He drew his vision dream and offered him 50 cents for a picture. And he didn't have any. He had just had this one vision dream, but he also started to paint the history of the tribe, so to speak, what the people looked like. And he made about $30 or $40 from doing this. And then years later, the book was sold at auction for $400,000 to a collector, and who donated it to the Cooperstown Museum, and you can go and see it today. It's a very beautiful book. So it's on the web too. Anyway, this is called Art. Father knew Black Hawk had had a wonderful dream. Edith M. Teal, 1932. The series started as a dream. This idea was not carried out. Dorothy M. Caton, 1963. 1881, blizzard starves Black Hawk. Pride cannot feed child or squaw. Trader William Caton gives pencil, ink, paper, $50 credit to Chimera. Black Hawk, destroyer, buffalo eagle rider. Lightning rains, rainbow tail, horned heads, hand, foot, hoof, claws. Draws the Lakota to account the Lakota. Hunting, courtship, birds, clothes, animals, war. Linen-backed, leather-bound, willed to heirs via law. Lost, found in a Goodwill file drawer. Asset of Dorothy's legatee, Bessie Irwin. Roommate at Rogue Valley Manor, auction, 76 plates, $387K, 1994. Resold to custodians Eugene and Claire Thor, invaulted at Cooperstown's Fenimore, thwarted Thunder Guardian, monetized or murdered, wounded, Knee Creek Dawn, she-bear wife, weasel bear daughter, black hawk. If I don't work, who knows? I am no other is me. I must practice at this moment. No other can act here, now. And I'll read two more poems to close the reading. The first is about my old teacher, Adrienne Rich, who her dates are 1929, 2012. The title of the book I'm reading from is Status of the Mourned. And so the book has a definite elegiac cast to it, which is why I have these dead people appearing in it from time to time. Two poems. In an ill-lit, formal space, two poems, Adrienne Rich, 1929 to 2012. Number one, in an ill-lit, formal space. Black chair back nailed with studs, forearms set on dark bare wood, conservative gray wool dress, lace flourish at half sleeves, wherein at left elbow skulls glare, a trick of the brain. Your stare almost mocks us. Your stare is the 4-year-old locked in the closet, beating the wall with her body. Second photo, Berryman, you, Mary Jarrell, a suicide, 2 suicide widows. Female prodigy fronting the phalanx, 7 dark suits, cunits to Penn Warren, privilege to expunge yourself, freedom to renounce the dead. Number 2, the hope of poetry. Times' front page obit, snuffed intellect's 83 orbits, paralyzing fear at the head of the subway stairs, chrysalis from which you sprang, autoimmune sun consuming you, arthritic body of the body politic, art calibrated to such fact, engine of measurement. Before hospice, you had refused meds to work, to keep lucid, fortitude of who you were, each student's irreducible debt of gratitude. I type this as time stops. I attain the workshop. I graduate to the hopeless cosmos. I labor because of you with the hope of poetry. And the last poem I'll read is, again, invoking my wife, Jane. This is called The Longing of the New World for the Old World. I keep my post for you at the harbor of the New World. I go down at dusk and watch the sun drop. I see each window illuminate in the far shore monoliths. I keep my post for you, Liberty Statue, benches, boats. My father landed 100 years ago from the old world. Take care, come home, as they say, safe and sound. I keep my post for you at the bend in the continent, at the soccer fields, the trapeze school, the tennis courts. I keep my post for you toward the Battery with each step on the esplanade. I gave you the apple to eat on the train to Linz. When I eat an apple, I will think of that bitten apple. When I drink my coffee, I will think of the coffee we drank in the Café Prukel. I will think of you not being beside me on the plane back to the New World. have a good time at your art school. I love you. My body is breached by love. I will pass each hour, work and sleep, keep myself for myself in your return. I will think of you in the old world as I stand in the new world. This poem conjoins to the absence of mother. This poem creates itself as the absence of mother. No reason for the poem but the absence of mother. No refuge from the absence of mother but the poem. I breathe the dark of the water that covers the last of the sky. For what do the people of the old world long? Why do they show the American film in the park below the Ferris wheel and the Prater? I keep my post for you, my river post.